What's going on, guys? So let's talk about Spider-Man Far From Home. It's gonna be the spoiler talk, so there's gonna be spoilers. So that's your spoiler warning. Okay, but yeah, just hopping right into it. I gotta say that I enjoyed this film more than Spider-Man Homecoming. It was just, to me, Far From Home was just, to me, just a better storytelling experience. You know, not even just the events that happen within it, but just a better storytelling experience. You know, with everything with Mysterio, it's like he ended up being the bad guy. Who knew? You know what I'm saying? But no, really, like, even though we knew going into it at some point that he was going to turn into the villain, I really think that Jake Gyllenhaal's performance as Quentin Beck, it was great because he played two different sides of it. Because on one side, if you watch it, and if you're like me and you're looking at it, just waiting, or just knowing, you're looking at it with the mind of, okay, I know this guy's the villain, but I'm just still like analyzing everything this dude's saying. It's just hilarious, the things that he's saying, like when he's talking about the elementals, when he's meeting with Peter and Nick Fury, and when he rubs like the wedding ring. You just, in my mind, I'm just thinking like, okay, dude, you doing really you're gonna do all that, like. And there's just so many moments to where it just seemed like, okay, this guy's just full of it. This guy is full of it. But Jake Gyllenhaal did that performance like great. You know what I'm saying? Because that's pretty much who he was portraying. And for the 2 or 3 people who didn't know he was going to be the bad guy, when they watch it again, I believe that those same lines will have a different effect, you know, prior to the bar scene when he did the monologue and pretty much told all their business. In that bar. Yeah, there's that. But yeah, from everything in there, man, like I feel like the whole thing with Tony even handing the glasses, the Edith glasses to Peter, that I kind of feel like rationally he probably would have gave it to Banner, but you know, okay. But hey, that's how it turned out. But yeah, so I think another thing too, just it's the whole. Oh, okay. Speaking of the Edith glasses, the bus scene. With the bus scene, I gotta say that when Flash took the glasses from Peter, and Peter had to slap Flash to sleep, I probably laughed longer than I should have. Just the fact that he slapped him, he was out cold, like, and he was yawning when he woke up too, like. I just thought that was too funny. I probably thought it was more funny than it should have been, but it was hilarious to me. But even still on that topic of Edith and Peter giving Quentin Beck the authority of Edith, you know, passing over to him and having to do the confirmation, him having to do that confirmation and, you know, give it to him, but him not having to do it when he got the glasses back. I feel like that's one of those things to where, like, if you notice, like, because okay, I've seen it twice, so. I did notice that when Peter took the glasses back, that when he put them on, it automatically did like a bio authentication, whatever. Like it was making sure that it was Peter. And I feel like that's one of those things to where Tony may have set that up prior to where no matter what, Peter Parker can take control of these glasses, no matter what. Or he can take control of the system because he knows through and through that Peter Parker is, you know, trustworthy or whatever. So that may have been a thing, because I have heard some people saying like, well, how was he able to get the authority back if Quentin Beck didn't say, here is these glasses, I transfer this over to you, whatever. But it did actually say that that it was like bio something. It said something to that nature. I can't remember exactly what it was. It said something like that. So yeah. What else? The dream sequence with Mysterio. Okay, so the whole thing with this dream sequence now, which it got me. I thought he was out. Once he was out the building, you know, I thought that they, you know, well, of course the drones did come down again, the glass falling and stuff like that. But once Quentin Beck was shot in the back by Nick Fury, I thought it was done. I thought it was a wrap. I thought it was done. But then when Nick Fury, you know, asked the questions who else it was, I was like, what could it be? Could he still be? Nah. But then when he turned back, I was just like, dude, it just don't stop, bruh. It just don't stop. But that That was like the craziest mind trip. And it's like when you take these illusions, because this was the first time we got Mysterio on the big screen. So, but when you take this type of illusion of that scale and you compare it to other dream sequences in other films, like it's definitely better than what we got in Age of Apocalypse or anything like that. But it's like it's one of those that will definitely be memorable as far as like your visual illusion, which Mysterio, he should be the pinnacle of that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like his character was done well, and we got pretty much everything that we really needed to get from Mysterio, because that was one of the things that I was going into this film hoping for some type of trippy dream sequence, which really needed to happen, and we got that. Well, we also got the whole thing with Brad Davis, trying to get an MJ, who I believe Brad was in the comics as well, trying to, or he was MJ's boyfriend at one point in the comics, but just the whole thing with him trying to be with MJ, I feel like that was a good addition, because it made a lot of nice scenarios that they could play with throughout the film, and as far as making another obstacle for Peter so everything wouldn't go as smoothly. I like that they did that, especially the scene where where Peter was called in by S.H.I.E.L.D. for his fitting for the new suit, and when Brad walked in and he seen, Peter with the old girl, it was like, I don't know, for whatever reason, and it's probably just me, but I was thinking kind of Captain America, the first Avenger, when you had the scene where Cap got caught kissing, the blonde girl in front of Peggy, and it was kind of like, okay, it's not what it looks like kind of thing. And I feel like Brad kind of had the intention of creating the scenario into a similar one to hand to MJ like that. But it just made me think of Captain America, the first Avenger, for like a little bit. But that was the point where we found out that Brad, what he was trying to do and everything, which I thought was pretty cool. Well, I didn't think it was cool, but I thought it was funny. Yeah, so jumping over to more so to post credits, because like the thing with the post credits. So now before we dive into this, it's like, okay, the whole idea of what's setting up for the future of the Marvel Universe, like, we can make our guesses. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they are way left field, but you never make a shot that you don't take. So we're just gonna go there, okay? Oh, and one thing too, as far as like things guessing and things that are like actual confirmation. Low-key within this movie, we gotten confirmation for Hydro Man, because even though the elementals were fake and everything, but while the students are trying to figure out, who this is, and they come up with the name Mysterio for Mysterio, there's a moment where Betty, Ned's girl at the time, that was a trip too, but there's a moment where Betty, she mentions that there was an incident with a Morris bench who, something had happened with him and some water, this, that, and the other. He may have gotten powers. And I feel like in a way that was pretty much confirming Hydro Man being somewhere within the MCU. That would be interesting. That would be interesting to come across later on. But either way, get into the post credits. First thing with J.K. Simmons, who else is going to be J. Jonah Jameson, man? Like he's really like the only person, like he was made for that role. I couldn't picture anybody else doing it. And then also the addition to that with Mysterio giving up Peter's secret identity. Because, when Peter first entered that bridge, Mysterio told him, what you didn't think, I have contingencies. So prior to that point, he already recorded his half of saying, that Spider-Man, he's turned against me and he's gonna try to kill everybody, this, that, and the other. He's already turned in that half of it. So at the point where he was actually defeated, and it turned out, and actually the spider sense kicking in, that was badass. And him stopping the bullet, that was also badass. You know what I'm saying? Because it was crazy. So either way. But with him setting that up, and then Peter actually saying execute all, and then he just took that sound bite, and we saw when his people, pulled the, dude from Christmas Story, because that's another thing that's wild, that's actually the same guy, but it's been the same dude from Iron Man 1. But anyway, but when he pulled the card out, they just did an edit, they put it out on the internet. And the Daily Bugle, which in the MCU, I picture it more like a TMZ type of setup. than an actual newspaper, because nobody really reads the newspaper no more. So the Daily Bugle, they'll probably just likely do stories, like Instagram stories type things, or something like that, more social media. I see it more so that way than actually being a printed newspaper. But either way, but yeah, Mysterio had those contingencies. He mentioned that, and I think it's very much likely that he's still alive and around, because he definitely set those things up to put in place. And when he was initially shot by saying, you know, telling all the drones to fire, he was likely standing in a different place than where we had seen him. And when Peter had got the glasses back, like we talked about earlier, and he was trying to confirm if there's any more illusions or anything like that, the answer to that, I believe that, you know, he may have induced something for himself, part of his contingencies, to stop his heart temporarily. I don't think he was doing anything like as far as like within Edith to trick Edith, even though he did have Edith for a while. He probably could have hacked it, maybe, because we've seen Peter hack Tony's technology before. So why couldn't Quentin Beck, who actually worked for Tony Stark? Then again, saying that out loud is a possibility. It's a possibility. But I think he probably stopped his heart. Either he stopped his heart or he did hack it. Who knows? One of those two. But I think it's likely he's still alive, and one of those two will be the reason we find out that he's still alive. But yeah, after that, so now, last but not least, Nick Fury was a Skrull this whole movie, and possibly longer than that. Like, who knows? Okay? Like, oh man. And this one I may... Now we won't get into it now. All right, so just possibly, this isn't really confirmed, but it's like the possibility of Nick Fury going with Captain Marvel all this time, and that's also playing into the reason, the true reason why the Nick Fury here never called Captain Marvel. You know, pretty much like how he was telling Peter, don't invoke her name, whatever. But the reason why he wasn't trying to call Captain Marvel in every single incident, in every emergency, because if that was Talos, just saying, if that was Talos this whole time, all the way through, ever since the Captain Marvel movie, since 1995, there's been Talos the whole time. Let's say if that's the case, the reason why he didn't call Captain Marvel is because he cared more about his people. Like, he wanted Captain Marvel to secure, you know, the colonization of the Skrulls versus coming back here to save Earth. You know what I'm saying? But it's real trippy as well, and it's a reach. So we'll see what happens with that. Another idea that I explored, and I talked about this a while back when I did my video on my review for Captain Marvel. It was either in my Captain Marvel review or just one of the talks about Captain Marvel, the film, afterwards. But just the whole idea of the space exploration and the Alpha Flight space team, and that being a tool to introduce other characters into the MCU. From seeing that post-credit with Nick Fury, it's possible that may play out, but I feel like even with that the way that the comics have been going, or at least Marvel Legacy has been doing lately, you know, a lot of that has scaled back and backtracked to Wakanda, because now Wakanda taking over, Wakanda space exploration, you have Agents of Wakanda, everything is pretty much gone to Wakanda. You have Black Panther, who's now the leader of the Avengers. It's like everything is going over to Wakanda, and I feel like between the two, between Captain Marvel in space and introducing new characters there, I believe that on Earth is kind of where things, between Black Panther and Peter Parker, they'll be the two where things kind of revolve around on Earth as far as introducing their characters, which in a way is pretty perfect for any character you think of, because if you think of the X-Men, you can do Wolverine coming through Alpha Flight, you could tie back to him that way with Captain Marvel. You also have Fantastic Four, who could tie through Black Panther, also tie through Spider-Man. Fantastic Four could tie through anybody, man. But I'd really like the Fantastic Four to tie through Black Panther. I think cause just kind of like a tip of the hat back to the Fantastic Four from Black Panther. I think that would be a great introduction for the team. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff I want to happen in Black Panther. That's definitely another video. But yeah, those are mainly my thoughts, man. Like just off the top about Spider-Man Far From Home. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I've been rambling for a good amount of time, but I'm just gonna leave it right there. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll do it again on the next one. All right, later.